Once upon a time. This gigantic national edifice, called the National Theatre, has been a major point of convergence for theatrical performances and cultural events in Nigeria. And this has been since 1977, when it was used to host the second World Black and African Festival of Art and Culture, FESTAC 77.
The then Minister of Information, Anthony Nahoro, led a delegation to Bulgaria, and they saw this lovely building, which was a sports hall, and he liked it, and so he got the builders, Techno Exportory, to come to Nigeria and do a bigger version.
The National Theatre was inaugurated on the 30th of September 1976 to accommodate contingents from over 56 African countries at the second Black World Festival of Art and Culture in 1977. There could not have been a more befitting venue for the array of performances displayed at the festival. The contract for the construction of the edifice, executed by a Bulgarian construction company, was signed on the 24th of April 1973 during the regime of General Yakubu Gowon and completed during the military regime of General Olusegun Obasanjo. The design was taken from the Palace of Culture and Sport in Varna, Bulgaria. It was constructed in Lagos at a time that the state was the capital of Nigeria. Igomu as a location remains a central point easily accessible to people living on the mainland and the island. The reception given to delegates from participating countries was unprecedented, as they were tempted to stay back a little more beyond their departure time to continue enjoying the comfort received from around the National Theatre, which has its exterior shaped like a military hat.
We spent so much money that after the festival, nobody wanted to go home again. Nobody wanted to go home at all. They just decided to run away.
I was so caught in the awe of the place, that what I did was I got lost. I forgot I was leading some students. I just got lost.
That was the beginning of the story behind the glory of the gigantic cultural edifice that has gone into history as the legacy of FESTAC 77. Given the successful and glamorous hosting of the Second World Black Festival, no other country has had the guts to host another since 1977. The National Theatre is now struggling to keep up with the image of its past. Neglect and mismanagement by successive governments turned the elegant edifice into a symbol of ruin and decadence. This is the new look of some of the facilities in the theatre that thrilled foreign delegates at FESTAC. I decided to see for myself the present state of the main hall, which played host to 5,000 people and colorful artistic performances from participating countries during the FESTAC 77. The main hall can double as theatre in the round and proscenium. When used as a proscenium, it seats 3,500 people.
From here, around like this one, that edge to this edge, we move into this place. If you want to, only that place. There's light, but that is where my office is.
Okay, you say which one can you do for us?
I can't do anyone. For more than, we turned this stage in 2009. 9 or 10 between. That is when we turn the stage.
The last time you
Turn the stage, yes. So if you need to turn it now, you need to service it.
It was in the company of this technician who has been working at the National Theatre since 1977 that I anchored my tour. You said the major problem
is the cooling system.
Cooling system.
And the AC. No, we use central AC.
So when was the last time the cooling system was okay here?
It's long. Quite more than. During Ogunde last film show, we did not use it. We did not use it during Ogunde last show.
So each time you sit, you enter this place. Anytime you enter
That place,
now,
wow.
what comes to your mind?
I feel so bad because I was with them from the beginning, seeing this place being decayed. Government can make revenue out of this place. Instead of going to museum center, all those places, here can accommodate 5,000 people. You know.
So what's the future? What do you see as the future of this place?
I don't know. It depends on government.
Dusty chairs, dilapidated furniture, exalted collapsible stage, now home to faces from birds.
It's one of the speakers they use. FESTAC 77. The second one is there too.
Not even enough light in the main hall, as we had to make do with torchlights. The last major show here was organized by the late Hubert Ogunde in the early 90s.
Woman, you go lean down. Man, you go bend down. You go lie down like
you know, say, here, they be Africa. Traditionally, we dey talk, all you women, you go kneel down. What? You man, you go lie down.
How do you feel? You understand how the beauty of this
place is.
The way you see it now with dust and everything, how do you feel?
I feel so bad. Because when this place was built newly, standing at that place, you cannot stand. The AC. You'll be feeling the AC.
It was on the second day of my tour of the facilities that I discovered that the National Theatre, with 23,000 square meters, standing over 31 meters in height, has 7 floors. Wow. On our way to the substation, which is actually underground of the National Theatre, and there is an underground here at the National Theatre. That's where we are headed now.
Formerly, when theatre was established, Federal Palace occupied this particular place.
Federal Palace.
Federal Palace.
Okay.
Where we are coming from now. Federal Palace occupied the restaurant.
This is a prototype of the National Theatre, the way it looks exactly. Little did I know that a meaningful tour of the complex will take me more than 8 hours, an adventure I feared to embark on. The National Theatre and the National Troupe of Nigeria Board Act of 1991 No. 47 stipulates that there shall be established under the general supervision of the board a National Theatre and a troupe to be known as the National Troupe of Nigeria. And the objectives of the board shall be to encourage the discovery and the development of talent in the performing arts and to achieve high artistic productions specifically designed for national and international tours. With this knowledge, I knew I had to do more to hear from both the people from the National Theatre and the National Troupe of Nigeria. My first journey was to Ijebu-Ode to see the second artistic director of the National Troupe of Nigeria, Bayo Oduneye. The first was the late Hubert Ogunde. As young and fit as he were then. Mr. Oduneye, a renowned theatre director who also played a major role at FESTAC 77, warmly received me and was ready to share his National Theatre experience.
The grand idea to have a National Theatre is a place which we were all proud of. And for the first few years after FESTAC, the whole of the big theater. We have about 4 theaters. We missed something that would have given this country an edge over other African countries.
He feels pained that the government is allowing such a national monument wallow in neglect.
What they should do now is, you see, national theatre all over the world is not just built in isolation. Built where there are malls and restaurants, so that people who are shopping or something decide to go to the theatre. But you see, our theatre is miles away from everybody. And you're so afraid at night to go around there because of these so-called boys.
Uncle B, as he is fondly called, believes a lot can still be done to restore the lost glory of the National Theatre as well as the National Troupe of Nigeria.
It must not die.
From Ijebu-Ode, the country home of Uncle B, to Ede in Osun State to see one of the former artistic directors and general managers of the National Troupe and the National Theatre, Professor Ahmed Yerima. He succeeded Uncle B.
When I left the National Theatre that year, 77, I didn't come back until 1991, when I was appointed Deputy Artistic Director of the National Troupe. And what I saw was a far cry. The TV sets had all broken down. The toilets were now dark and leaking, and there was no water. Quite a lot of things were wrong. The main bowl, which was folding and moving artists from one level to another, you could see a dancer, all those things that marveled us in 77, 76, had all died.
As a theatre scholar and dramatist at the Rimas University in Ede, Osun State, he looks back on the place of the edifice in Nigeria's cultural development, suggesting ways by which the project could be revamped for national pride.
The National Theatre needed an organic arm, the one that could be used to make money, the one that could be used for cultural diplomacy, the one that could be used to celebrate the culture in the house of culture. The National Theatre is just the house of culture, you understand, where people were supposed to work and celebrate, you understand. But the celebrators are supposed to come from the National Troupe and the other groups in Nigeria. And I think that's why government didn't blink when they made a great man like Hubert Ogunde the first artistic director. He didn't have to be a university professor. There must be the right person chosen for the place. I don't know the right person, or God knows the person. And I think there's a need for them to pick the right person. And then pick the right board. If the right board is not there, then they will go there and see it as a place for self-aggrandizement.
I returned to continue my tour of the National Theatre, and on this day, I discovered that spaces outside the complex and inside can be used for pockets of artistic activities. This dance group feels at home rehearsing here. From one point of the lawn outside, we drove round to see what it looks like. It is no doubt an architectural masterpiece and cultural landmark, one of the few iconic features that gives Nigeria its unique aesthetic feel as African bastion of cultural expression. This drama group also sees this space inside as a comfortable place to flesh up its rehearsals for a play production. I was privileged to see few of the many cultural groups who find sanctuary at the theatre. One major dynamic of the theatre is its fascinating interior and exterior designs, sculptures, paintings, crafts strategically positioned. One of the persons whose stories are incomplete without mentioning the National Theatre is Shuaib Hussein. He was recruited to the National Troupe of Nigeria by the late Hubert Ogunde and has a story to tell about the edifice that he calls the Mecca of theatre artists in Nigeria. He feels it can be developed and harnessed to restore Nigeria's profile as a global tourist hub.
I really pray that there should be one policy that we say, look, for every house of culture that has been built by government, instead of us contemplating selling the house of culture, we should be more interested in maintaining the house of culture. Because now that they have even brought back history into our curriculum, this should be form part of history of the arts. You see children coming here every time for excursion. If you bring down this place, or if you say, okay, let's allow it to waste, what will they talk about? How will we remember FESTAC? This is the only thing and CBAC that makes us to remember FESTAC, that Nigeria ever hosted FESTAC.
One great facility that he and others want the federal government to revive is the main hall.
In 1993, there was a film show at the main hall, Ogunde's film, I think it was Aye, and the crowd was here to watch the film. And they all wanted to go into this 5,000-seater, cinema hall. They got their tickets, the ground floor was filled up, and then people started going up to the gallery to sit down. I think the barrier that stops people at the gallery, now I think they caved in. So some 3 boys just fell off from the gallery. If you go to the main hall, you find out that the gallery is quite a distance to the floor. So I think they fell, and then there was so much heat in the hall because the AC was not working perfectly. And I think just to handle the crisis that came with, because those guys were rushed to the hospital and all those stuff.
Having explored some of my contacts from the National Troupe of Nigeria, I decided to pay a visit to the acting general manager of the Art Theatre and some of his direct staff who work to ensure that the structure is alive despite the shortcomings.
The repairs there are tremendous. What we need to repair the place is tremendous. It's not something the National Theatre itself or even the Ministry of Information and Culture itself alone can do. So we are looking out for partnership that will come and help us put the place back in form, and whatever the partnership will be, they could still recoup their money. So we are talking to 1 or 2 big individuals and corporate entities to help us to bring back the place in, because the place can sit conveniently about 5,000 persons. And that's one of the biggest seating capacity with such facilities, rolling stages and things like that in Nigeria.
What is the future of the art theatre that you see?
A national theatre that will be multifunctional to both those in the arts and culture sector and those who are even out on leisure, and those who want to exhibit anything they have. That is what we are looking up to. And in the next 1 to 2 years, we see it happening.
Not many people know that the National Theatre has the potential of being used as a film location to achieve some scenes and make money for the federal government through the Ministry of Culture.
I've always looked at this edifice as a fantastic location for film producers and directors. And that's one area, that's one aspect that has not been explored to its fullest capacity. Look at this corridor, for instance. You can achieve anything on this corridor. You can simulate anything from this corridor. Hospital corridor, hotel corridor, airways, airline. A lot of shots can be achieved on this corridor by a creative director. The car park runs right across the circumference of the building, just round the building. If it's well lit, you can achieve a car range within that place. Now look at our lawn. You don't need a golf course. If you have a scene in a film or a drama that needs a golf course, you don't have to go to a golf course. You can simulate a golf course right on our lawn if your cameraman and your directors are very, very creative.
All the necessary processes have been carried out
just waiting for final approval from the federal government, because it has to do with the implementation of the master plan of national theatre. We're supposed to have 3 to 5,000 multi-layer car parks, shopping malls, amusement parks to complement the services of the national theatre.
Wow.
This is the main executive wing of National Theatre. If there's any program taking place in any of the halls, with the governors, the head of state or the president, also the important personnel.
Okay, just look at
this is where they relaxed first before attending to that particular occasion in the hall.
There is a conference banquet hall, 2 exhibition halls, and 2 cinema halls. The lobbies are also there. Is there a future for the National Theatre again? A future that will explore the national monument to its full capacity.
I see a national theatre that can stand on its own without waiting for government subvention. I see a national theatre that can generate employment for the youth.
One way forward, as observed in this sojourn of understanding the National Theatre and its enormous potential being suppressed by what is perceived to be a deliberate neglect, is a public-private partnership and not necessarily privatizing it as earlier planned by President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2001, which sparked controversy among Nigerian entertainers.
When President Obasanjo said, go and get a foreign body, organization, to convince me that the place has viability. It was easy to go to Ford Foundation, spoke with Margaret also, who was not even the director but in charge of programs, went to Abuja and met the president and said, look, the AMI is doing a good job. And the president said, National Theatre not for sale. And that's why it's still there. But what it has to do is a committed group of workers.
The late Garba Asiwaju, may God rest his soul, was the first person who came here to manage the building after the Bulgarians finished, and after FESTAC, they left. He mentioned that the plan that he made on the ground was that the theatre, there should be like a turnaround maintenance, which they do for refineries every 10 years. So if the theatre was commissioned in 1976, that means that the next turnaround maintenance will have been 1986. Then it means that another turnaround maintenance will have been 10 years after. But there had not been any holistic turnaround maintenance since the theatre was commissioned.
Restoring the lost glory of the National Theatre is perhaps an effort that should involve every cultural ambassador, private and public, for a national growth.